Hello and welcome. My name is Carsten Lützen. I'm an agile coach and a scrum master facilitator, whatever we call it. Today I will share my default retrospective template that I use quite a lot because I've seen over the years that it works awesome. Before I dive into it, if you like these videos, please consider subscribing and sharing. That would be awesome. Okay, so back to this. Retrospectives. Single most important meeting in any team, if you ask me, because that is where we can retrospect our way of working, how are we working together, but it's also where we can really work on how to become a better team. How can we move closer to each other? How can we help each other even more as a team? So I usually go through these 8 steps, and yes, it seems like a lot, and it also can be a lot. So I would recommend 1.5 hours or so for this. First off, getting everybody into the room, then I do some stage setting. If I'm new to the team or just like briefly have been invited in to facilitate a retrospective, I start with who am I? Just 1 or 2 sentences so they know why am I there? Why is it not the normal person facilitating retrospectives or whatever. Then I use the Vegas rule. So what happens in this retrospective stays in this retrospective unless we agree otherwise. And that's really important to say that out loud and just don't take it for granted. Say it out loud. That what happens in this retro stays in this retro. So people should feel okay with voicing what is on top of mind and knowing that it will not come back to haunt them unless, of course, we agree otherwise later. That it's something that we bring out of the retrospective to focus on going forward. That's the only exception from that rule, and we do that deliberately when we vote. But yeah, then I really like the silent dyno or the silent art energizer, just to get people ready. If we are virtually, which we often are, I have prepared a picture frame and I ask them to just draw anything, whatever they want, only using sticky notes. And they're not allowed to talk. So we do that for 3 or 4 minutes and it's just quiet. Everybody just draws and you can slowly start to see some patterns. And you as a facilitator can also see, is it a happy drawing? Is it a more frustrated drawing? And then afterwards we just put a few words on it and then we add the painter and also the title of this artwork. And that can give you, as a facilitator, some quite good insights into what is the state of mind of the team. Are they super happy? Are they frustrated? You can read that out of this picture often, or at least get some pointers to it. When you've done that, then we go to achievement posters. I've made a video both on the Vegas rule, the silent dyno, and also achievement posters previously. The achievement posters is, again, to get into a positive mindset and also celebrate what are we actually proud of. So what product achievements are we proud of we delivered? What knowledge sharing did we do this sprint? What social activities did we do, and other things? And other can be anything from somebody getting a new cat to a keyboard that was delivered or whatnot, right? So getting this so we remember to log our achievements for later, because then down the line, for a year from now, you as a facilitator can use this and say, a year ago you were proud of this, now what are you proud of? And then you can start to see how much have we actually moved in the last year, product-wise, process-wise, and team-wise, which is quite interesting and quite funny. Then this one, if this is the first retrospective, there is no follow-up, but if there is a follow-up, we just quickly go through them. So the driver of this specific follow-up, focus point, action item, whatever we call it, will give a status. And then we as a team vote, is it something that we continue to have focus on, or are we okay with how it is right now? If we close it, then we close it. If we keep it, then we just remember to put it down here in point 7. Then I like the retro wheel, which is a modified starfish. So that is start, stop, continue, more, less, but also appreciative feedback. And that has to be appreciative, non-sarcastic, non-ironic feedback to a specific person in this meeting, and it cannot be me as a facilitator. and that's to practice this art of giving feedback to each other. And the other ones are self-explanatory, so things we should start do, things we should stop to do, things we should continue to do, things we should do more of and less of. So this classic. I usually give people 4 or 5 minutes individually and in silence to do this, and then we cluster them, add some titles for these clusters, and then we do dot voting. And when we have done the dot voting, we pick the top 2 or 3 highest voted items, and then we look into these signs of improvement. So imagine that we have this specific thing that had the highest number of votes. How would we as a team, or how would I as a developer, as a team member, as a manager see that this has improved or this is no longer a problem? What are the signs? So we jot down these signs, and it can be 3 signs, 10 signs. How many make sense, right? And this is to make sure that we don't fall into the trap of thinking about a specific solution first. When we have these signs of improvement, we assign a driver, or a driver volunteers, or we find a voluntold, please don't. And the driver is not responsible for driving this, but the driver is responsible for giving a status update next time in the retrospective. So what happened since last time? What activities were started? This would usually also be the person that tries out something based on these signs, but we deliberately do not lock into specific actions because it's simply premature in our retrospective. Then when we have these 2 or 3 items, I would usually not go with more, just because we want to really see that we can actually close them, and we can't if we have 5 or 6 or 7 at least, based on my experience. Then, because I also as a facilitator want to improve, again role modeling a bit here, I would like to do an evaluation of the session, so just like a simple 1 to 5, the ROTI, so how well was time spent in this meeting? So was it a good return of investment? And then also if people have notes or things that they would like to try out or never ever do this again, they can just leave small sticky notes. This, if we're really fast, and I would not recommend it, can maybe be squeezed into an hour, but I would not do that. 1.5 hours is quite a good time frame for getting through this without going too fast and too shallow over the different parts of it. And then of course it's not that it takes an equal amount of time. Stage setting is often quite fast, especially when we have done it sometimes. Silent art for 5 minutes, achievement posters and so on. Things will start to grow more naturally. And then yes, we could maybe switch out this one or switch out the retro wheel, but I would keep the structure somewhat the same, at least for quite a period of time, so people get used to it. So that was my default retro. I'm super curious to hear if you have similar default retrospectives that you use, and hopefully you're willing to share. And that's it. If you have comments, questions, ideas, or feedback to my videos, please leave a comment or send me a message. That would be awesome. Have a super awesome day.